Hello, my friends, and welcome to the show. I've already forgotten what I've called it. It's basically a positive wrestling podcast. I like calling it the Power Resident, but the PWP, right? It's the Positive Wrestling Podcast. You used to know it as a Simon Miller Pro Wrestling Podcast. Shout out to the guy that got so mad that it came back because he wanted it to come back, and then it came back, and he was still mad. So look, go back a week's time, and we can give you all. This is literally what happened. This is the most ridiculous thing ever. But go back to last week's episode if you want to get the lowdown on what we're going to do, what's happening, what's not happening. But of course, you remember Scott from last week who has returned, and there is a brand new person with us who has your beard has become tremendous. I can't remember the last time I saw it. Has it got better since the last time I saw you? It looks like you could be in the White Six. Oh. It looks like you're good to go.
Now. There it is. It's been so long since I've seen your beautiful face, Simon, that I have grown a beard, in fact. I'm finally here. Joey TBA, you can check me out on all forms of social media, one half of the Brothers Or. And I'm here wearing my lovely zebra stripes because I am going to call this right down the middle, boys. Right. Just like Ref freaking Rollins is this weekend at WWE SummerSlam.
I like it. What a great time. In fact, we can start talking about it there because by the time people have heard this, a video has gone up that we did. I don't know, whatever the hell you've seen it. Have you seen this current rhetoric that how dare Seth Rollins wear his funky over-the-top clothes in a very serious feud between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre? It's so funny. Look, I get where people are coming from. Sometimes you want Rock Austin from WrestleMania 17. Although I will point out that in Rock Austin WrestleMania 17 for a while, do you remember when Deborah was teamed up with The Rock? So it wasn't actually that serious at all. Then they went, oh man, we got to get rid of her. I mean, my point was, It's been established that's who Seth Rollins is in this crazy world that we're living in. I genuinely watched that whole Raw segment, and at no point did I think to myself, he's dragging the tone down. Yeah. I just thought he's being Seth Rollins. It really surprised me when this became like the online conversation of the day.
No, that's mad. Because that is, to be fair, one of the draws of that match is what is Seth going to wear. So, I mean, that's a moneymaker in itself.
Oh, no pun intended.
No pun intended. Because I can't wait to see what he wears. A la Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 97, Heart and Soul. He wore the little booty shorts and the little crop top. And I think he gets spat on. Oh. He hit Undertaker with the head, with a chair, like Jack Perry last week.
Yep.
I mean, that's a serious feud. And that went into Bad Blood, which again, this year probably going to go into Bad Blood. So there's a lot of kind of similarities to that rivalry. And we look back at that rivalry as a very good, solid, no comedy, as people want to say, like Seth Rollins right now. And Shawn was literally in booty shorts, that whole storyline.
I think we have a revisionist history sometimes with some of these things. We think they're more serious than they are. But we all remember, mostly from that match, is, like you say, what Shawn was wearing. And I hope Seth does take it back.
I want him to take it further.
Further?
I want him to take it to another level here on the Positive Wrestling Power podcast.
Lovely.
No, but I agree with you, though. I don't want him twofold, right? I don't want to repeat myself from yesterday's video, but twofold. Firstly, again, within the reality that we have created for ourselves here, that's how I expect Seth Rollins to dress. If he came out in a suit, I'd be massively disappointed. I want him to come out in like I can't even think what the most ridiculous thing would be. I would say a blouse, but he's done that already. So we can't come out wearing a skirt, man. Just do whatever the hell you want to do. But also, if he does it now, at some point when we get into the actual CM Punk and Seth Rollins feud, because that's already happening. But when we kind of splinter off and we double down on that match, that is when you'd have the opportunity to go. Then Seth Rollins comes out in serious attire, if you want to call it that. And then you're going to make more noise anyway. Because, oh my gosh, he's super serious now. Yeah. He's not wearing his ridiculous costumes. Now, the only thing that I will give to the crazies, not the crazies, the people that thought this, you're allowed your opinion, is I do admit that if you actually go back in time, there is no reason as to why Seth Rollins started dressing like this. Right. But you can't get mad about that now. That was like 2022. I think we've just established it now. So, yeah, I just thought it was very weird. But I thought, given, Joey, that you are wearing a special guest referee top, it was the right time. It was the right topic to have.
Would you say Ref Rollins?
Ref freaking Rollins.
Freaking Rollins. There we go.
They've not said that yet, have they? How have they not said that yet? That is such a letdown by WWE.
I think a full body romper is what Seth's going to wear, by the way. I think like Freddie Mercury-esque, full body stripes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And a hat. Wear a baby grow. Just wear a baby grow and a hat. Perfect.
Or a full zebra costume. Just a full zebra costume. Head, trotters, everything. Trotters.
he should change halfway through. He just leave and then come back in a different. It just wind up everybody. I do want to talk about SummerSlam later, but just as we are here, I mean, I've already predicted it. I'm saying it is. You said it right. I think it's literally going to be the SummerSlam 1997 finish, but Drew goes to hit. No, Punk goes to. So Seth goes to hit Drew, and Drew moves and he hits Punk. I think Punk has to lose, would be my guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I agree. And yeah, that exact finish, I'd be very happy, minus the headshot, because Jimmy Corderas found out the hard way this week. You don't have an opinion on AEW because people will, the crazies, as Simon would say, Simon said it, not me, they come for you in droves.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, Jimmy Corderas said that they gimmick that chair. We even said it on here.
Yeah.
We apparently heard. I don't know how you gimmick a chair, but I mean, my God, did they go after him?
Well, we need to get a t-shirt made that says "Appease the Crazies."
I like that.
That's good. The ATC.
Yeah, this rivalry, I actually said it, we were watching Raw. It reminds me, I don't know if it's the story, but do you remember Jericho and Shawn came off of the back of Shawn and Flair? So Shawn and Flair had the Mania match, but Jericho and Batista kind of intertwined into it, but it turned into the really good story coming off the bat, which was Shawn and Jericho that went after like 6 months.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we're getting, like you said, with Seth and Punk, is it's a really good vehicle to get to Seth and Punk. And we're enjoying this story like Flair, HBK, but we know it's going somewhere that could have 6 months of legs that could even make it to Mania, because we thought we were going to get it this year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that's where the real story is Seth and Punk, because we were talking about it, like when they're about to go do these promos where they interrupt each other and all this kind of stuff. When Seth's in there kind of setting up the scene, are the other two sat in gorilla just going, yeah, I'm going to say this, you're going to say this? Or are they just other ends of the room ignoring each other and just being like, yeah, it you know, what will be once we're out there. We're going to take loaded shots at each other and just hope for the best. But in amongst this, we were talking about, we're like, Drew and Punk don't really actually have any real human beef. It's all been made up by Drew online with pictures like Jungle Boy this week of like the bracelet, which is a huge storyline thing. Yeah, it's not real in any way. And then
we did injure him though.
That's true. But again,
injure him with the Royal Rumble.
But you wouldn't have known unless they brought light to it that he got injured. Like
true.
Putting his arm to a DDT. So the story's kind of made out of nothing. I think they're probably fine with each other. But Seth and Punk is the one where, since his beginning, we were like, oh, he hates him.
Yeah.
But we haven't really got fully into it. So.
I've gone the other way with this because I've become super, but no, it's only because I've become super nerd, and you should never go super nerd. But I have decided to go super nerd because there is that story that when Punk did come back, and again, look, I'm 99% sure Seth Rollins knew what he was doing. He's working, right? But there was that story that after the War Games, Drew McIntyre did indeed actually was so mad that he left. Yeah. Now listen, I'm pretty sure that's all stuff that we've made up because it sounds really, really good. But again, when you go super nerd, I've decided to believe it. So I have now decided to believe that CM Punk and Drew McIntyre just absolutely hate each other. But I do totally believe, based on that Raw segment, that when you go back to what you said about the promos, I don't think they're discussing anything. I think they all get given the bullet points just because there was a moment in that promo where they just said nothing and they all just looked at each other. I don't think that if you had mapped it out, you would ever get that in WWE because I think TV time is too precious, right? It costs too much money. But I think in that moment, they're all just trying to take it in and stuff. But that's why I think it's so good too. Like I said, it has completely worked me, which is the best way possible. I think they all hate each other. And at a moment's notice, it could all kick off and it'd be the greatest thing ever. But that's what I want. I want every, look, as much as I think Gunther versus Damian Priest is going to be great, I know they don't hate each other, but I suspend my disbelief. Whereas if you put a gun to my head, I'd be like, I don't know, man. I think Drew Punk and Seth may actually hate each other. But that's just good work, right?
Exactly.
And I think that's why it's great that we can talk this way. And look, we're getting Drew versus Punk. We're going to get Seth versus Punk. You could probably do Drew versus Seth again. And then eventually, look, if somehow you could make it all the way through to WrestleMania and you do a triple threat match with the World Heavyweight title on the line, I think you've got, if you're able to do it and keep it interesting, you've got Bloodline levels of goodness. That's what I think, anyway.
I think you got to take it back to when you were a kid as well. I always try and watch wrestling through the eyes of me as a child when I first found wrestling, is you do believe everything. And in this day and age, it's really hard to make people really, really believe that there is something going on that isn't part of the story. So if they are doing a good job of making it seem like they all actually do hate each other, then hats off to them. And I'm going to enjoy the ride like I'm a child again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm looking forward to the SummerSlam. Almost the whole SummerSlam card feels like 97 again. Like, I know I brought it up once, But it feels like, and we remember that one particularly because where we were living, we were in the middle of nowhere at this point in our lives, like positionally, similar to what we are right now. But I was probably 7 or something. Joe was
14?
56 or something. But we made signs.
Yeah.
And I think you had a Brett one or a Shawn one.
I had a very pro Canada one.
Yeah, Joe had a Canada one. And then I had like a Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Just gonna screw him, Undertaker, I know. And we had like little cardboard signs at the back of cereal boxes, and we sat in the front room, stayed up. And I'm not gonna lie, I can't imagine Joe and I aren't gonna stay up and have cereal boxes.
Oh, do this once again.
Because I'm very happy to do it. And as you said, we're a positive podcast of power and all that.
Everything.
So
positively.
Yeah, PWP. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm gonna buy a bowl of Lucky Charms. Like a whole.
I'll go through Luke.
I'm gonna get through them just so I can do it.
Wait, so are we picking sides with these signs?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, you got to pick sides. It's like a prediction contest with sides.
You're a punk guy, so I'll let you have punk.
Yeah, I'll be a punk guy. I'll go
Drew. I'll go Drew.
Nice.
Because I like his leather skirt and the leather jacket with the long black hair.
Heck yeah.
Big fan. Big fan of
yeah, let's go.
On that, no, he's doing his best work. Like the fact that he has been able to put himself in this position is just through sheer ingenuity and talent. Do you know what I mean? Like he's literally established himself now. Even if for whatever reason they do decide, okay, we'll move Drew McIntyre out of the way for a while, he has to be putting something big. Otherwise, you were just completely getting rid of everything that he's created over the last few months, which is awesome. I mean, he posted a picture, like you said, he posted a picture of Jack Berry. I think that's incredible. I think that's absolute. I don't know if they all agreed to that or if he did it and he got his hand. I don't know, right? Again, there's so many stories. We will get into SummerSlam, but again, as we are talking about stories, literally this broke. So it's like 14:42 on a Wednesday as we record this. And I came off a call at 14:15 and my phone had loads of messages on it, and that's when I know, okay, something has definitely happened. And somehow there's a picture of this as well. So this isn't like nonsense. It's not lies. I would start to think that maybe this was planned to try and get some noise because it helps Shane McMahon and it helps Tony Khan if you break it down, which we probably will do. But I mean, I'm just giving it away. There is a picture in an Arlington meeting room because, of course, that's where the collision tapings are happening at that esports arena. And yeah, there is Tony Khan on one side of the table, and across the other side of the table is none other than Shane McMahon. And apparently they were engaged in conversations about whether or not they want to bring Shane McMahon into AEW. I think it just goes to show, man, anything can happen in pro wrestling. Imagine I had told you a year ago that Punk, so let's say that it's July 2023. Oh yeah, Punk is going to be back in WWE within 4 months. It's literally a year ago, almost to the day, when he cut that I am the real world's champion in AEW. Imagine after that promo, we talked about the Crazies, right? Sponsored by the Crazies this week. If I had gone Twitter and I would have written in 4 months he's back in WWE, I mean, literally, even though they couldn't find me, they would have burnt me alive. They would have figured out a way to put flames through my computer and set me on fire until I was dead. And they'd be proud of it. They'd tell the judge, "You damn right I did it," and I'd do it again. And they'd be totally cool with it.
Right.
So, like, we have now got to the point a year on where I can possibly tell you, let's just say come November, just for, a random date. Or when is Full Gear? I mean, Full Gear is like December or whatever it is. I don't know. I mean, I'd actually do it. I wouldn't do it on pay-per-view. If I was going to do it, I'd do it at Grand Slam, the New York show, because it's on television. And AEW's fine when it comes to pay-per-views. And actually, the TV ratings are doing a lot better. But right now, in negotiations, brand new deal, you want to sort of bump them up as much as possible. I think Grand Slam is in September, so like 6 weeks away. I would somehow look, if Shane McMahon can be on that show, I'm not saying that it's good for AEW. I'm not saying it's bad for AEW. I don't know. It depends on what they do with him. It depends on the story. But I do know, and we talked about this a lot in our group, I like chaos. I like the internet melting down. And a McMahon in AEW, I actually think, in terms of people trying to process it in their brains, could be bigger than Punk going back to WWE. In terms of the history of pro wrestling, again, like, even when Punk was out of wrestling, I was that idiot going, oh, he's never going to come back to wrestling. So I just didn't think he was interested, right? But the conversation could be had. Never would I have gone, oh, yeah, one day a McMahon will turn up in another rival company to WWE. It is mad. But you guys go, what's going to happen? The last thing I'll say is I have a sneaky feeling that maybe Shane McMahon has done this because he'd like to be back in with WWE. Apparently doesn't have any kind of contract at the moment, total free agent. Wow. And look, more power to him, but it's a good way to get people talking, right? It's like the Daniel Garcia stuff that we may get into later. All of a sudden there's like, oh, who's he going to sign with? It's like football players, right? All of a sudden, Ivan Toney is up for sale and random club is linked with him. You're like, why would they be linked with him? It's because it's been linked into the press because the team that actually wants to buy him may go, oh no, we're going to lose Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
It could be that, but we don't know. I don't know. And again, of course, does WWE need Shane McMahon? Maybe they do. I don't personally think it would make much of a difference, but again, it all depends on how you look at it. But yeah, I mean, what do we do here? Like, you're in charge. What do we do?
It's strange, isn't it? Like you were saying, imagine when AEW was created, and you just said about a year ago, say when AEW created that Cody Rhodes would be main eventing WWE, Jesse the Body Ventura would be back in WWE,
Yep.
CM Punk would have come and gone and be back in WWE, and a McMahon would be somewhat involved in AEW, and no McMahons are involved in WWE. 5 years ago, you would have just been like, I surely that's like a joke, like that's not a real thing that could happen.
Yeah.
And in amongst all that, a pandemic.
Yep.
But which
No
last week we
fans,
got
yeah.
into a pandemic.
No
for a
fans
while.
of shows.
So I'm not going to do that. But what I'm interested about, how do they use him? Is it strictly because he's been a talent for WWE for 5-6 years? He hasn't been any further on. Has he?
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, the wealth of knowledge he has. I mean, he's a guy who put together Royal Rumbles.
Yep.
He's gone through the business. He's seen the business up close. If I was bringing him into AEW, you know, maybe you could use him as an on-screen character to pop a rating, kind of almost like a GM. But I would want to use him backstage because I think that's the one thing that AEW's really missed is I don't think they've got any old heads as far as the wrestling business goes. They have people like Tony and that who are huge fans, and they have people like Arn Anderson who are producers.
They got a couple of wrestlers like Chris Jericho.
Yeah, and Dean Malenko and that. But I mean, WWE has the likes of, you know, they have forgotten his first name, but Khan. Nick
Khan.
He's obviously a business guy, not a WWE guy. But then they have people like Bruce Pritchard, who are WWE, you know, they've been there through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Shane is like a Bruce Pritchard. He has that information that if Tony could sit and have him next to him, he's such a wealth of knowledge.
Massive.
I think that's a bigger signing for them if he just sat in Gorilla and never showed his face.
Yeah.
Than if they tried to pop a rating by going, go out there and punch MJF and be like, a McMahon just got knocked out, and then MJF can do a promo about where's your dad and do all this kind of stuff. I think that's all been, you know what I mean? That's what you expect from them. I think if they just signed him and said, could you be a COO of the company with us, or whatever it is, sit there and just give us the knowledge. What is wrong here? What are we not doing right? Because Shane's a businessman. Yeah, I remember when he left WWE originally in like 2011. Mm-hmm. He went to he lived in Manchester for years, where he was running a business here that moved into New York. Yeah, he's a business guy, which as is Tony, so he could learn a lot from Tony as far as business. Because I don't know of any Shane McMahon businesses.
There'll be some business connections,
but so vice versa, they could get so much from each other. So
yeah, I think
that's how I would use him.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think long term, having him behind the scenes and pulling some strings and kind of helping everything out a little bit, long term is the best bet. But I think if you've got him, you've definitely got to put him out there for the first little part just to get that rating.
He's the best in the world. He won the tournament. Like, he is the best wrestler in the world.
I don't think
Torres quad doing elite pro. And we've all been there.
No, I think even when he was in WWE, you do get that initial reaction for him. People still do pop to this day.
We did. When he came out in LA at Mania, there was still a reaction.
But it doesn't last long.
Yeah.
I think once he lingers a little bit too long, it runs a bit cold and people get a little bit bored of it. So I think their best bet is if they can lock him in, throw him out there, get the real like McMahon buzz right off the bat, then pull him back, have him behind the scenes, and then probably pop him out every now and then. I think that's your best bet if they can lock him in.
Yeah.
So I'm going to play devil's advocate. I'm going to disagree with you. I would much rather see him as an on-screen character because I think that sometimes when you add in too much WWE to AEW, it feels to me like there's too many people pulling in different directions. Yeah. And I think all of a sudden what could happen is, because Shane McMahon obviously only knows the WWE way, and I don't see that as a negative. This is the problem. You say that, it's like ex-WWE guy. Well, no, you have to work somewhere. You have to leave. I can't stand it. It's like someone goes to work in Burger King. Oh, I used to work at McDonald's. Yeah. Clearly I'm just into fast food. Where do you want me to work, for goodness sake? So I'm not saying it is a negative at all. I think I actually agree with you totally. The wealth of knowledge he will have in his brain, I think, will be unmatched. I think it's unmatched because you're born into it. How can you not be? It's impossible. Even if you were bad at it, you'd still be better than me, for example, because you have all this stuff in your head. But my worry would be is because he'd want to do it that way, and I don't think AEW wants to go that way. I think all of a sudden it would just be I think we had that before. That to me sounds like the very first issue a few years ago when, you know, this person with power wanted to go left and this person with power wanted to go right and somebody wanted to jump and somebody wanted to crouch, and I actually didn't mind it. I thought it made the television very fun, personally. I thought it was a right variety show. But if that's not what they want to do, that would be my only worry. So I am going full on chaos mode here. I mean, mostly what I want to see is Shane McMahon versus Christian so that Christian can make a bunch of dad jokes. That's what I want, which makes me a terrible person. But that's what I want because I know what will happen. And everyone they will not be able to process it in their brains. And I can sit back going like this because it's great. It's wonderful. This is fantastic. But my favorite thing about it is that literally anything can happen in wrestling. Yeah. We used to say that as a joke, but I think that now has been proven. Anything you think, not something ridiculous like Bruno Sammartino is going to come back. Not happening, right? Literally cannot happen. But I think anything that is in the realms of possibility, I genuinely, you could say anything. You could say Tony Khan, you could say that one day we're getting AEW, WWE Super Show. I believe it. Yeah. I believe that somehow one day that will go down. It would sound so dumb. But again, it's even like if you take the blood sport stuff, like all the WWE guys did the blood sport over the weekend. If you had told me that even 2 years ago, there's just no way. Especially not blood sport. They'll see that as, it's not the WWE. It's so anti-WWE. But I don't know whether you saw those matches. They were really, really good. Yeah. My favorite thing was clearly the edict was WWE guys have to win. They just murdered all their opponents. But you would do that, wouldn't you? You've got the what you call
upper hand,
the power.
Yeah,
of course you do. Of course you do. You're a much bigger company, but I just love it. And hey, look, if they wanted to put him, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Even if they put him in a position of, say, creative, whatever it may be, and it all goes wrong, what do I care? I don't care. Yeah. Good work. I'm glad that you tried. It didn't work. We move on to something else. I mean, my only want with AEW this year is they get an awesome TV deal and they're around for another 5-10 years. Because it's quite clearly made wrestling way better. It just has. Even if it's just from a wrestler standpoint where everyone's getting mad money all over the place, which is flipping awesome. And as long as we do that, if you want to send Ricky Starks but if Ricky Starks goes to WWE, great. If Daniel Garcia goes to WWE, great. If Shane McMahon comes across and we reveal him as the head writer of Ring of Honor, I don't care. Just do it, and I'll watch it week to week, and I go, well, I like this, and I don't like this, and that's it. I want to see it just because it would be like hell freezing over times 42.
Yeah. Well, thanks to having AEW as well, it means we do get these dream scenarios and dream matches that we didn't even know existed before. Like you said, with Danny Garcia's, Ricky Starks, people like that going over to WWE, and the same vice versa for WWE going to AEW. We get these scenarios now because AEW's been around long enough, and we're invested that we get to see these guys on the alternative show doing something slightly different, like what they did with Blood and Guts last week. Like you get to see certain people appear in those matches that we would never have expected. So I think having the two sides and the fact that it can go back and forth now and it is chaos, it's opened up a whole world for wrestling. It's made it really interesting.
Well, seeing Cody be AEW Cody on WrestleMania was such a...
The exact...
if AEW hadn't existed and people hadn't seen the indie run, you would have been like, oh, Cody looks different. As I said, it was like, oh my God, I'm actually watching AEW on WWE. I don't understand what's happening. And it's, I don't know.
It gives you this whole freaky world.
Yeah, I do love it. And like Simon, we established this last week and you're the same. Chaos over everything always, because it doesn't affect me.
No. It's fun.
That's right. That's why even if they did announce Shane McMahon runs Dynamite now, awesome. Let's go. Let's see what it's going to do.
Dynamite Underground, no ropes.
Yes.
That's what Shane will bring.
Do you know though, right? So apparently Shane McMahon has had some proper, like, what are you thinking of, Shane? This is the most insane thing anyone's ever come up with. But he was also the guy when they started WWE ECW that said, put it online. He said, make it an online show in like 2006. That dude way ahead of the game. That's a great idea. If they had done that, they probably could have kept it like ECW should have been, as opposed to make it zombies and vampires.
I'm one of the rare people that love that ECW. I don't know why. I don't know if it was just the right age for me, where I was like 17, 18, and I got back kind of like, it made me like wrestling even more. I was like, Jack Swagger's my guy.
Yeah, you could pick a guy.
Yeah. No, but that's true as well, right? Because there is now a swell of people who are saying, "Oh, Roman Reigns is the greatest wrestler ever," and you get the sort of people that maybe the generation up going, "Oh, it's ridiculous." Like, no, they grew up with Roman Reigns, you idiots.
Yeah.
It's like that's why he's the first person they saw. So why do I think Steve Austin is the best? Well, I think again, but no, other people won't. But he was my guy, right?
Yeah.
He was my. But Steve Austin's different, just because you can then start throwing in statistics and numbers, and it's like, oh, right, yeah, good point. Can't really argue with that. But that's just luck, right?
Yeah.
But right now, if you're growing up in wrestling and you're, 25 years old, you probably think John Cena and Roman Reigns are the greatest wrestlers of all time because they were the first people you saw and they were pushed as the guys.
Yeah.
And again, wrestling is for kids, so you gravitate towards them. So
No, I definitely agree. And Stone Cold is just the coolest. Can we just have a second to talk about Stone Cold?
Yeah, he still is to this day.
If I could follow just one person on any social media, and there was one podcast that existed outside of the Positive Wrestling podcast.
Oh yeah.
It would be the Steve Austin podcast, and it's not with guests.
No.
He doesn't have anyone on.
No.
He's just talking to his gardener, and he's explaining shower gel he bought.
He's explaining shopping trips. He's telling an entire story about a fly.
His Insta story at the minute is the most talked about thing in wrestling, and it's just because he's got a new cat.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just the most wholesome but cool.
Yeah.
Badass human in the earth. I just love Stone Cold. I almost got more of a fan as I've got older.
Yeah.
And go.
I'm gonna say I'll drop you my cool Stone Cold story, right?
Okay.
Now, I don't think I've ever told this on a podcast because this is why it's good to have guests on, right? Because you need that. Oh, we've just talked about it randomly. So how do I even start? I can't remember what year it was. It must have been like 2010, 2011. Maybe 2012. Unlikely. But it's one of those WrestleManias, right? And it's when I used to work in video games. So THQ was making the video game at the time. I was quite close to THQ. And I was at home. I didn't go to WrestleMania. And they said, "Oh, Simon, we've got a bunch of press opportunities with some of the wrestlers." What was Michael Cole versus Jerry Lawler with Steve Austin as the special guest?
Atlanta,
It must have
2011.
been that one. 2011. So it must have been that, right? Because why else would Steve Austin be doing WrestleMania press? And they said, right, okay, cool. What's going to happen is Austin's going to go from one building to another to do his PR, and he'll give you somebody will give you a call. It'll be like a 2-minute interview, but I said I'll take 2 minutes, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
So I'm by my phone. I'm the most nervous I've ever been in my entire life. Like I think it was a cold day, and I was just sweating. It's just like sweat.
I'm getting nervous
everywhere.
for you.
Yeah, I'm starting to sweat.
Right, yeah. And my phone started to ring. It was an American number. I was like, okay, breathe. So look. Usually when you do this stuff, you pick up, there's somebody there, handler, they go, "Hey Simon, it's John from WWE. I'm going to pass you over to Steve Austin." Great, awesome. Gives me a few seconds to calm down. Phone ring, bring. Yeah, hello, Simon speaking. "Oh, hey son, just Steve Austin." No handler, no PR guy. Just got the phone and went. It also meant it was the worst interview ever because I think we probably had 1 minute and 20 seconds because I spent 40 seconds going, I wasn't ready for it at all. But that's how cool he was. I can only presume that he'd gone, "Nah, screw that, I'll ring him. Just put the phone in and I'll just talk to the guy." It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
What a guy. I don't know what I'd do with that, honestly. Just hearing his voice like that in my ear, I'd be like, I think I'm done.
So that's why WrestleMania 38, I think, is going to be untoppable for me.
Yeah.
Because it was the first WrestleMania that I'd done after the pandemic, so I was sort of super excited to go. But not only did you have that Cody Rhodes entrance, which I still actually, because I was there and I experienced it for all the reasons you mentioned, I think it is the greatest return ever. I really have to think about that, but that's where my gut takes me. I was there live for it, right? So you have a bias towards it anyway. But it was also when you had all the Austin stuff, as well as the second night where you got everyone knew it was coming, but the surprise Steve Austin pops, which I've always wanted to be a part of.
Yeah.
And that's it. It kind of like cemented my entire fandom for it. And now that's it. If I never go to WrestleMania again, I won't mind. Genuinely. I don't mean that as an asshole way. I mean, like, that was the best WrestleMania experience I ever could have asked for. It was brilliant. It was perfect.
Yeah.
It was the perfect WrestleMania experience.
People are saying, I think, because the majority of everyone says WrestleMania 17, and I mentioned last week that my mastermind subject is WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah.
Hence why Michael Cole, Jerry Lawler was 27 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was Atlanta WrestleMania 27.
That was good, yeah.
17 is notoriously known as the best.
Yeah.
But I've seen, I think Sam Roberts, Peter Rosenberg, they've kind of broken down manias, and they believe 38 might actually be the best of all time. And it was the kind of, they were saying it's almost like a dawning of a new era. It was the first one back with full fans, wasn't it? Like 37 was in front of like 20,000 at Tampa, but it was full fans. But there was like the debut of like Logan, Kevin Owens got to main event, Cody Rhodes returned.
Yeah.
There was all these things that almost set up the next 3-4 years. of the WWE in this hottest spell
Yeah.
ever. So it's almost like the kickstart right before. So a lot of people actually are saying that they think it is the best of all time. But the Austin stuff definitely
It kind of
is the cherry on top.
it feels like a dream.
Yeah.
Like when
Yeah.
you think about the show overall, it's a dream because you've got Logan Paul on there, which like I'm taking.
Yeah. Again, go back to WrestleMania 17 and say, what's going to happen at
Yeah.
WrestleMania 30?
Like if you went back years, so WrestleMania 38,
As a
it's
YouTuber.
going to have Logan Paul. It's going to have a returning Cody Rhodes from another company that is the equivalent of a WCW these days. You're going to have Stone Cold Steve Austin having his last match years after what we thought was his last match.
Yeah, it's like nearly 20 years.
Kevin Steen / Kevin Owens is in the main event against Steve Austin because he picked him.
Yeah, it's mad. It is mad. No, by the way, that is a very good
bad
story.
thing. Oh, no, I try. I got a few of them because I'm an asshole. But the only bad thing about that WrestleMania 38, especially in hindsight, at the time I thought it was really fun, but now it's just ruined. Is obviously Vince McMahon has that match with Pat McAfee and the Austin Theory stuff. And at the time it's really fun, and then now it's just like, man, this ain't no fun anymore. And it's just horrible. But again, you can't help that, right? What are you gonna do? Right, let's stay on track with SummerSlam. Again, my official predictions are up. You can go check them now. They went live on Monday, which was the 29th is what it was. But I mean, let's just go with Cody versus Solo, because I don't think anyone believes that Solo Sikoa is going to win. He certainly could. But I think the big question is, Roman Reigns is returning, right? We kind of talked about this a little bit last week, Scott, but when does he return? Does he return after to confront the Bloodline when they're beating up Cody Rhodes? Or does he come in before and help Cody Rhodes, which again is going to set the internet off because people will be like, oh no, Cody Rhodes had to have help from Roman Reigns to win Solo Sikoa. Like that's a big deal. I don't think that it is, but maybe it is. But if you're booking the show, where do you put Roman Reigns? Let's just say Roman Reigns is on it. We'll just take it as read. Does he come out to help Cody, or do you have like Randy Orton and Kevin Owens and maybe even Jimmy Uso comes back, and they're the people that actually stop the Bloodline, and then Roman comes back after the match is over? Or is it better if he comes back before? I think any return like that is better after the match. You want the Bloodline beat down, but Cody's got the title, and you just know, right? You're like, well, no, you'll get in SummerSlam like this, and then he comes out. I always prefer that, but again, there's an argument for both.
I think in terms of where they're going with the story, having Randy, Kevin, maybe Jimmy as well, having them be the ones that maybe cost Solo the title more so than Roman.
Yeah.
But like you say, I think Roman coming after the match, I think that's way bigger because I think it's going to build. I think people are expecting Roman Reigns. Like I think you said they sold more tickets based off of what Solo said at the end of SmackDown.
Yeah, so at the end of SmackDown, he said, if Roman Reigns has a problem, you know where to find me. They were 15,000 short at filling the Cleveland Browns Stadium. And the next 2 days, they were 6,000 away from filling it. So he sold pretty much 10,000 by just alluding to the fact, we're short on ticket sales. Should we just give him the finish without giving him the finish? Roman Reigns is going to be there. Everyone buys tickets.
I think you're building to a bigger moment, having all the people that have been involved up to this point come out and help the situation.
The biggest schmoz ever.
Yeah, all of that's going on. And then once you think the show's over, like they have done classically with the trademark in the bottom corner.
Yeah.
I think then that's when the music hits. Roman comes out, face off.
Are they going to do almost like Mania this year light? So kind of have the layers.
I think so.
So maybe Jimmy comes out and everyone's like, oh, maybe that was the surprise.
Yeah.
And then this happens. And it's like, who's the new brother that's joined? The new Tamatonga's brother.
Well, that's what I was going to say. That's what I would do. So what I would actually do is I would have Hikuleo join Bloodline 2.0, whatever the hell we're calling them. Because if he comes out whenever, and we have the Jimmys, and we have the Kevin Owens, and we have the Randy Ortons, then it goes back to 5-on-4 at the end. Yeah. I guess we could Sami Zayn could come out. The point is, getting Hikuleo on there allows them to be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. Listen, Hikuleo is a really, really good talent. WWE fans, by and large, don't know who Hikuleo is. So it doesn't matter if his surprise debut gets usurped by Roman Reigns. He's going to be okay regardless. But if he did debut there, and then they're all beating up the non-Bloodline people, then Roman Reigns gets his big, oh my gosh, he's back, right? So I think that's a great way to do it. I think all the people we've mentioned, all the usual soldiers, help Cody, but not help Cody, they just stop the Bloodline. So Cody can take care of Solo, who can be classic WWE. Oh my gosh, I'm distracted by all the shenanigans, which I like, by the way. I got no problem with that. And then, they get their instant revenge, and then, they're beating up Cody, they're beating up Kevin Owens, Randy Orton. Hikuleo comes, because Hikuleo's massive, right? So he can come out like, oh my gosh, who is this terrifying guy? And then, just beat him up, do a beat down that's way too long. Roman music's hit, everyone goes nuts. He doesn't even have to fight. You just stare at him and they can run off. It's Roman Reigns, the tribal chief.
Yeah, I like that layered kind of.
Yeah.
And also, like you said about kind of him being overshadowed by Roman. If anything, it's almost like how do we get more eyeballs on a brand new talent that no one does know?
Yeah.
Because that you think of Mania ending, how viral that went.
Yeah.
Now imagine this one going viral.
Yeah.
Everyone's gonna be like, "Who's that guy?" Oh, we find out who that guy is. If you can get all of the current Bloodline 2.0 and Jimmy back, all these things, and put it out there. Then Roman on top.
Yeah.
People are going to get eyeballs on some of these guys for the first time. People like Camacho and his eye patch.
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to get eyeballs on these people for the first time. And we were so bang on with the eye patch and him not being in a match.
That's wild.
I'm so happy he had an eye patch. And in fact, I didn't get around to it today. Although I could probably come off at the top of my head. I want to drop an eye patch wrestler every show now. I want to support the eye patch wrestlers.
Like
Didn't, what was his name? Lafitte.
Yes.
Well, back in the 90s. It was named Jean something Lafitte. He had an eye patch. He was a pirate, right?
It wasn't PCO, was it?
Yeah, it was. I think it was in PCO. Yeah, I think so.
When
I
he
think
was
so.
in the Attitude Era when the Quebecers came back.
Yeah.
And he had like
Yeah,
an eye
I'm pretty
patch.
sure. I think he did.
Yeah,
and Bret Hart worked with him.
I'm 90% sure.
Yeah. I can think of
so
one
he
other
definitely-
off the top of my head.
We got to save it for next
Go
week.
and drop it.
We got to save it for next
No,
week.
because I could be wrong though. That's the problem. So we need an eye patch wrestler.
I always wanted to rock an eye patch because I am blind in one eye.
We should have an eye patch. We could sell eye patches.
That I always thought about having the logo on it, like red and black
My
eye
God.
patch.
You should do it, man. It's right there.
Money on the table.
It's such a cool thing to do. The only problem is that it hasn't been. It's been done a little bit too soon than I would have liked. Like, 'cause obviously with Tangaloa, he did it because of an injury. Actually, I guess it's all been injuries, right? Because Malachi Black's an injury, John Moxley was an injury. Oh, they're all injuries. So yeah, we can do it. Screw it. Yeah, you can get the eye patch and it not be injury related.
Yeah.
It's just a gimmick. That's what I'm talking about. When was the last time we had a gimmick eye patch? There's no such thing. It's all been medical related. I don't want that. I want gimmicks.
I'll protect
That's
the
what
eye. I have to
Yeah, you gotta
protect.
protect the
I'm
eye.
protecting the bad eye though, so that doesn't really make any sense.
No, but if you covered the good eye, then we're really in trouble. I don't think we're going to win here on matches.
That's great, though. That's a good gimmick. I would like that gimmick. I would support that gimmick. The blind guy who wears an eye patch on the wrong
It goes
eye.
with the beard as well.
He's
now,
just-
okay? It
you're-
goes
you're-
with the beard.
You're just blind at this point.
Yeah.
As far as the
Paul
actual match-
Burchill ever wear an eye? Sorry, did
Who's
Paul
that got?
Burchill ever wear an eye patch? Paul Burchill never wore an eye patch, did he?
I don't know if he did.
Surely he did.
I don't think he did because he was based on Jack Sparrow, and Jack Sparrow never wore an eye patch.
That's good pirate knowledge, that song.
That is great
yeah.
pirate.
It's BS is what it is.
we
Absolute
could bring back
BS.
the Positive Wrestling Power podcast patches.
Oh,
Yes, I told you, man. I'm only doing it for merchandise. That's it.
Oh, yeah.
And as soon as I get one comment going, release the patches, that's done. I'm gonna get a bunch of eye patches, mate. Sorry. Go back to the match. Yeah, you were trying to steer it in the right direction, and I was not.
It was just so like I'm gonna throw a little bit of a spanner in the works kind of thing. I think Solo's gonna win and Roman's gonna confront him after the match.
Ooh.
You think Solo's gonna be the champion? Like for real?
I do.
You're mad.
I'm the crazy you were talking about earlier. I don't know. It's just I really can't get out of my head that they want to give the Bloodline all the championships.
Yeah.
And as of Friday, they're gonna have the tag titles.
Yeah.
Then they win the world title. Jacob beats LA Knight in 2 weeks' time. Once he beats Logan.
Yeah.
And they have all the titles. But I don't like the idea of the end of SummerSlam being Cody losing and then he's just kind of forgotten.
Yeah.
Solo's got the title, Roman comes out. Because I don't know if I'm being ridiculous. Roman's got no reason to dislike the Bloodline yet.
Well, I don't know. Solo Sikoa took over, right? He stole it from
He's taken it
Roman
over,
Reigns when
yeah,
was
but he
away.
hasn't. Like no one screwed him out of the title. He just lost.
Oh
first.
no. Yeah, but he killed Paul Heyman though, and that's
the
his,
one.
like,
It's the
that's his
Heyman.
man. Yeah.
He kept making a lot of comments about like Roman's not the tribal chief, I'm the tribal chief. So he's kind of claiming it. And every time Heyman tried to call Roman, wouldn't allow it.
In true Bloodline fashion, I would also like the idea of Roman coming down, Solo being annoyed, but Jacob super kicking Solo just as he thinks he's setting him up. Because Bloodline always seems to be a super kick. Is like their version of a swerve.
I've seen a lot of stuff about little Easter eggs that Jacob's been doing.
Yeah, he does different things.
Where he's like looking at Solo a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I don't know if these are just accidental Easter eggs, but we'll see. It's fun.
We'll see. But I'm going out there. I'm saying Solo's winning.
Woo!
You're going Solo. Joey, you're not going Solo, surely.
I'm really torn between Solo winning and Roman or the other good soldiers costing Solo. But I think I'm leaning more towards everyone helping Cody win. Roman comes out at the end. I'm not so much convinced about Solo, but I can see a world where it happens.
Yeah, I'd genuinely be surprised. I think that's the one that I'm most certain of. I'm more certain than that than the Punk Drew stuff that we've already discussed.
Yeah.
And actually, it's why with Gunther... Actually, let's do Gunther and Priest, because Scott, we were here last week when I just totally changed my mind. We had that live and in person. I've doubled down on it now. I think Priest is winning. I think Priest is going to win because we have the Berlin show. I thought that'd be a really bad idea at first, but now I think it's way more interesting because as somebody also pointed out to me after that show, it's like, no, it should happen because Gunther has talked way too much trash.
Yeah.
There has to be a little bit of, ha ha, I got you. And then Gunther can find respect for Priest and then he beats him. Because, of course, it also, I'll get this guy's name for next week. It was a really well thought out comment because he pointed out then Gunther could be like, oh my gosh, I almost lowered because I lowered my respect for you. I lowered my seriousness and my game towards you. Now I get it. I'm going to raise it. And then he pulverized. The guy actually pitched him pulverizing him in Berlin. And I was like, you know what, man? I'd take it. I would take it because Damian Priest still gets that win. And at the moment, as I found out when I did my predictions, nobody thinks Damian Priest is winning. I think Damian Priest is winning. I really do. I've become super confident with it.
I actually agree. I think the way they've booked him so far, and he's so strong, this is just that kind of, like I said earlier, cherry on top. He's going to be this solidifying he's the guy. He can then get smashed in Berlin, whatever happens. But it's just he got from Mania to SummerSlam as the champ. He beat all comers. But there is this underlying Judgment Day thing happening.
Yeah.
The what do they call it? The little room that they're always in.
Clubhouse.
It got ruined.
Got destroyed. Destroyed.
But everything that was Finn Balor related wasn't. So all their faces were crossed out except Finn.
But that's why it's awesome if Damian Priest wins because that's how you get Finn Balor really mad. You couldn't beat him. I beat him, and that's just a nice little little slither to them breaking up. He could just get mad. You're right, I did. That happened.
Yeah, and I don't know. I just see it as like something's happening. And someone brought up that the acting in that clubhouse scene. We laughed at it because we thought they were just being purposely bad. But someone said they're acting like they're surprised. So Finn, JD, and Dom were acting like, oh my god, what happened? I think who do you reckon it was? And they were doing all that. Yeah. And Rhea and Damien were like, well, we know who it is. Yeah. And they were like, oh, yeah. And it's like Damien and I reckon by the end of this show, there's a chance Damien and Rhea are beltless and not in the Judgment Day. And the new Judgment Day with Dom, JD, and Finn's the leader with Liv in there, maybe. Yep. That is what the whole night is, a vehicle to kind of split the Judgment Day. Even Rhea's doing the Damian Priest show the night before for the reveal of the 24 or whatever it is.
That's a great shout.
So I don't know if it's maybe the end of the Judgment Day that we know this is the big night. And also it'd be great for Liv to get a win over Rhea on a big pay-per-view.
Yeah, I'd like that.
Because Dom breaking Rhea's heart is going to be devastating TV.
It will be really bad. I'd take all of that. I think that'd be really interesting.
But that is going against the idea that I think Damien's going to win.
True.
I'm just throwing out a couple of ideas.
I think you can do both. I think Damian Priest wins because, again, that can fuel Finn Balor's rage. And I definitely think Liv Morgan should win. I think Rhea Ripley has to be screwed over by Dom. Yeah. Like the counterpoint to that could be, well, Rhea Ripley will look, what an idiot. She got screwed over by Dominic. It's like, yeah, but that's good because it goes to show whether you're a badass or not a badass, a good person, a bad person. Matters of the heart, man. I'm repeating all the stuff I've said in other videos, but matters of the heart will always blur your mind and you will always look for the best, which is why people go back in relationships when they've been cheated on 100 times. Yeah. Be different this time. I like that. I think that's actually a nice ripple, especially because then Rhea Ripley can go Super Saiyan, right? Yeah. She can go absolutely crazy and become that. I mean, she's already ridiculously over, but I still think there's another level for her. I think she's that talented. And how do we get there? Sympathy, emotion, and then wrecking Rhea Ripley. So I actually think we could get to Raw and Damian Priest is still the champ, but the Judgment Day has changed. Yeah. So I think Damian Priest will. I think it could almost be a cool like Rhea Ripley needs help, but Damian Priest is distracted by Gunther who does something. But yeah, no, I do think the new Judgment Day, at least within 2 weeks after SummerSlam, is going to be Finn Balor, Liv, Dom, Carlito, JD McDonough. That's right? Yeah. That's the ones? Yeah. For those two matches, I'm going Damian and Liv, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree, and it's the same kind of idea behind it, because someone even said the other day that if Roman isn't returning, I'm very happy for Rhea and Liv to be the main event, because I think it's been the nicest build, most interesting, like there's most stakes. Like we don't know if Rhea's going to get her heart broken and we're going to get that emotion and take her to the next level. Liv could get a massive win. We could Judgment Day has literally ran TV
Yeah.
While the Bloodline's been going, Judgment Day ran Raw the whole time. The whole arc of Raw is just Judgment Day. So for them to break up is a huge moment. I'm going to go Liv and Damien, but with the premise that by the end of Raw on Monday, Damien's flat down and Finn's holding up the title.
Yeah.
Because he's going after it or whatever, and it's that kind of thing.
I think that's the only way you could do it to keep people interested. Like if they put the solo Cody match on earlier, obviously everyone's going to assume now no Roman. So to keep people's attention, the only way you could keep them on for the main event is Rhea Liv, just because of all the stuff that's going to happen around.
But don't get it twisted, Roman's returning. So we don't have to worry about it.
Returning. That'd be mad. I mean, and also it depends what they're doing with Punk and Drew as well. It really depends what the biggest surprise is. You have to put the biggest surprise on last, otherwise you're going to kill that crowd, right? You just are because if Roman comes out segment 4, you're done. No one's going to care about anything else because he's Roman Reigns. I think all that's fair, and I think the Dom going with Liv. I think Liv Morgan's really good at this character. I think that thing she did on Raw with the fire and the pictures, it was real. I could see that in and again, I mean this positively, obviously. I could see that in a silly horror movie and be like, this is great. This is awesome. Like, it's really, what a ridiculous character in the best possible way. I think we all agree that LA Knight is beating Logan Paul, right? I don't think anyone thinks Logan Paul is going to win.
I think that's time. And Logan Paul has said that he spoke to Mr. Cleveland and he's got a surprise. So that could literally be...
That?
My theory is Jelly Roll's performing. And Jelly Roll's bringing out a song with MGK.
Yep.
MGK is very obsessive in Cleveland.
No.
I think Jelly Roll and MGK are singing Logan Paul to the ring. That's all it is.
Yeah, I can see that.
Oh, well, that's okay. I thought you meant that MGK was going to get involved again, like
I
before.
think
Kevin Owens might powerbomb him off the stage again.
That would be a nice
as a callback.
That'd be a nice callback. But no,
Who's the rapper that beat up John Cena? The Britney Spears ex-partner. Do you remember that? Kevin Federline. Bring him back too. You're Kevin Federline. Bring him back.
That was very nice of you to call him a rapper as well.
Yeah, very nice.
To be honest, I can't remember what he did.
I think he was just like a reality guy, but he was definitely trying to rap.
He definitely rapped a bit like Riff Raff. Yeah.
He did a lot like Riff Raff.
What a weird time to be a wrestling fan that was. I think it's actually really important LA Knight wins this. I think it'd be real bad if, of all the results, I think you can go either way and it's fine. If LA Knight doesn't win this one, I think it's atrocious.
Yeah.
It's that's an extreme answer, but the dude is so talented that he remains a main event level over act, even though he's not actually booked like a main eventer. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. And people like to be all like, oh, he hasn't got much to his game. I don't care what he's got to his game. All I know is that every time he comes out, he gets one of the biggest pops on the whole show, which I'm told is the whole point of wrestling. And he sells a bunch of merchandise. Yep. I think that what they need to do is he needs to hold that. Well, he doesn't have to hold it for as long as Gunther, but I want him to hold it for a long time because I still see the IC belt above the US belt. Just because Gunther turned that belt into like a lottery win. And I think now you can do the same thing with LA Knight. As long as he holds it. I'd like for him to hold it till WrestleMania. Yeah. I bet he doesn't though. I bet something comes up and they take it off him.
I can see him holding it to WrestleMania and making it to maybe a John Cena match. Yeah. WrestleMania.
That'd be good.
Something like that. But
I can see that.
No, I really like LA Knight. I just like him as a human. We were talking about it just before because I watched him on Cody.
Yeah.
On the bus, the Wheatley vodka outfit or whatever he's doing. And it was really good because they got beyond the interview.
Yeah.
It went that little bit longer where they started to just start talking.
Yeah.
And even LA Knight noticed it, was like, what, are we just chatting here? Are we recording this? Like you could tell it was like sincere of like, I think I'm going way deeper than I should be on this.
Which I think is good for someone like him because his story is it's relatable to like us. Yeah. Like being like, late 30s, 40s, been doing this a while. Looking for that break.
The opportunity,
Yeah. And being known as entertainers mainly as well, not necessarily ring technicians, but
I think he deserves it because I think since that Bray match at Rumble last year, he's had like this, and then by Rumble Mania this year, he was at the peak, and they've allowed it to start doing this.
Yeah.
And I think this moment is a moment for them to just do that and redo it.
Well, for example, I watched.
If he loses, though, I don't know how you recover after.
That's bad. I think it's really bad if he loses.
Yeah, I mean, I watched the Cody interview with my girlfriend, and she watches SmackDown religiously with me every Saturday morning because it's the only thing we can kind of get hold of at that time.
Yeah.
And she's seen a lot of LA Knight. She's seen him live. She came to Cardiff with us, thanks to the PD boys.
We were very close to it.
Yeah, we were very close. And she gets that he's very popular and funny. Like, she does laugh at what he says in the ring. But having watched the interview, she gets more of an understanding of who he is.
That's what's so important. That's what we were saying about the Rhea thing is a broken heart. Everyone can relate to that.
Yeah.
So Rhea, who's unreal person out of this world, you add that little wrinkle of human, and all of a sudden it's just going to take him to a different level.
We've said this about wrestling a lot. Like over the years, we've kind of been taught that wrestling has to be kind of mysterious. Like you're this larger than life being that you only see at shows. You only buy into the character on screen. But I think nowadays it is much more like people want to buy into the human, the person.
Yeah.
Like when they're watching and listening to us do this, are they agreeing with what we're saying? Do they relate to what we're saying? That helps wrestlers a lot more than not always the stuff they do in the ring.
Definitely.
And the same thing happened with my girlfriend. She watched that, and afterwards
She's a fan.
She likes him a lot more now. She liked him before, but she gets it a lot more now.
People definitely aren't agreeing with what we're saying. Just so you know. They all hate they hate us so much.
We're too positive.
That we're allowed. Braun Breaker versus Sami Zayn. Is that the last match? Is there another match on SummerSlam?
We've got one more, and that's apropos that you said that because it's Bayley and Nia Jax, and we've talked about the booking of Bayley, and this match is very
I've let myself
forgotten.
down. That's bad of me. That's bad. I should be ashamed of myself.
No, because the reason you have an opinion, which is that she's not booked well, which is 100% correct, to a point where it is forgettable, and Bayley should not be forgettable.
No.
And the whole match is just based around Nia won Queen of the Ring.
Yep.
Bayley's the champ. There's no other build other than Tiffany has this briefcase that she's going to debut a new type of briefcase. I think they broke it. The match is really just waiting for a cash in or potential cash in or some kind of fallout. I'm going to guess Bayley retains, and Basha Berlin is a 3-way because Nia's upset at Tiffany trying to cash in or something.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You think they're going to do all of that? See, I think they're going to eke it out longer. I think that Nia's going to win because Tiffany helps her. And then they do the whole story of...
She teases.
Frenemies, right? Oh, they're friends, but she's going to keep I don't know. That's just, I mean, look, I like your way too, though, to be honest. I think this is the problem, is that there's too many options.
Yeah.
And I'm being a hypocrite here, but sometimes it's good to have too many options, but sometimes it's because, like, well, I don't know where are we going? I don't know. I don't know where we're going. I would love it if Bayley did retain, but only if there's, like, a
story,
huge thing around the corner.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind, but this is the problem, right? I'm genuinely a huge Bayley fan, and I think she's the most underrated person they have. But if Nia Jax wins, I also don't mind. Because I think Nia Jax is really good at what she does too. She doesn't get enough credit. I keep saying this all of the time. Her job is to be a monster heel. Done. I think she's really good. I really like Nia Jax.
Yeah, also the other thing is there's a lot of talk about Trish and Tiffany or something with Trish and Tiffany.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah,
so I wonder if she goes to cash in, but Trish comes out, stops it.
Oh, yeah.
Bayley and Trish up, and then Berlin is the big tag match or something. But I mean, we're going somewhere where Bayley's been before. She's been to Mania with Lita and Trish and all these types of, she was Becky and Lita and Trish, but she was against it. So it feels like Bayley's been there long enough and the booking's not the best, that she's going back around now into the stories she's done. And there's nothing really, I couldn't come up with something right now that's really in-depth, must see with Bayley. And that's bad because she is so good.
Yeah.
Her match at Mania is, if not the best match of the weekend.
Oh, it's good.
The one with the Io Sky was unreal.
I think if you look at it from a certain angle, it is the best, depending on what you like from wrestling, for sure. Yeah.
Mad. So, I don't know. It's a little bit... It's very interesting that we completely forgot the match. And it's because we...
Sorry.
No,
Sorry.
that isn't... It literally backs up the point that it's not good enough. But we're not saying that she doesn't deserve it. We're saying she, if anything, deserves the best booking.
Yeah.
I can't even come up with anything off the top of my head where I'm like, that'd be something I could sink my teeth into with Bayley.
Yeah.
I can't think of the right opponent other than going, her and Tiffany would be a good match.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's what they're doing with the story. The damage control stuff was really good going into Mania. So.
She is the workhorse champion of the women's division.
Yeah, if not of the whole generation.
Yeah.
Who you got, Joey? Who are you going with?
I think Bayley wins, but I think that's only because they're gonna, like you say, prolong the cash in stuff. I think Tiff will get involved. Tiffy time will get involved. Try to cash in, and I think Bayley will come out on top. But I think it will lead to a bit more, like you say, maybe a triple threat in Berlin or something, or a tag. Something's going to happen that's going to further this to another place.
When there's a pay-per-view right around the corner, it makes you think different, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This is such a weird thing, but she may not be asked. I like the idea of the tag in Berlin because I think those matches, those cards abroad are really good when you have a stupid over-the-top gimmick match.
Yeah.
That it doesn't matter. You can do it. There's less stakes, but there's more stakes because you've added something. It's just for fans, basically.
Yeah.
I hope they do that. I think that'd be really good. My worry is they won't because it's in Berlin. I don't know. I think it'll be really interesting. Yeah. What I am going to do as well. So go on.
I was going to say you could still do the cash in as well if you did the Trish Bayley tag.
Yeah.
Is even though the title's not on the line, the match could end and then a whole thing happens.
Yeah.
Trish turns on Bayley. Maybe we have a really good Trish Bayley thing over here. I don't know,
I take that.
So
I like
good.
heel Trish Stratus. I thought she's really good heel Trish Stratus with the Bailey stuff.
Her heel
Bad
character
Becky
was
Lynch
so
stuff.
good.
Yeah.
The comedy
So
timing
good.
was so much better than people were giving it credit.
Yeah, brilliant. I think I prefer her as a heel, to be honest. Only
Yeah.
because we have enough. Bailey can be our face, right? So just give me more heels to throw at Bailey. That's what we should do. Just like Hulk Hogan, just heel, just all over the place. And just keep throwing them. We'll all go with Bron Breakker, right? No one thinks that Sami Zayn's going to.
I really want Braun. I'm really enjoying Braun. I really like Braun. I thought we're talking about the Liv promo. I thought his promo on really good. I think everything they're doing with him, the fact that when they show him turning up and everyone's just in normal clothes, he's just shirtless with wraparound glasses on. I think it's everything that I want that guy to be. And I mean,
he's a once in a lifetime wrestler. Like the fast twitch fibers and the speed he moves around that ring at, plus the intensity he carries as just a human.
The way he took that kick this week on Raw, and he was running so fast off the ropes, Sammy had to catch him. He could have broken Sammy's legs off.
Yeah.
Like, he spun. But I don't know. There's something about him that I really enjoy.
I think it's time to
I think it's his time.
It's time to put it on him. 'Cause he's already rising fast. So I think it's time to keep that rise going. Because people love him.
Yeah.
Like, people do. Even though he's against Sami Zayn, people are still rooting for him.
Yeah, especially because Sami Zayn can spin off into the Bloodline stuff, right? He's friends with Jey Uso again. Roman Reigns obviously is a free agent, so he can pop over to Raw to do some recruiting, should he so wish. And then I think, I imagine you just go right into Bron Breakker versus Ilya Dragunov, Berlin match, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then if Gunther's going to win, Ilya can lose. People forget this. People get so mad how much Ilya loses all the time. I was like, have you watched this man's career? He's like Kenta Kobashi. Make him lose all the time. That's the whole point. He's so good at losing. He has a skill at losing. I don't know how he does it, but he does.
He's such a believable
really
human,
awesome.
when he's getting beaten up or taking stuff. Like, he is
Absolutely.
believable.
Oh, he's really good. He's really cool. I just thought what we should do is when we're done here in the WhatsApp group, everybody throw their predictions in. And much like we do on the Positively Arsenal podcast, which everybody should check out too, search for it right now. We'll keep a tally and we'll see who wins. We'll call WrestleMania the end of the season.
Yeah.
And then we'll start again from
Okay.
Backlash
like that.
or whatever.
Yeah, I like
but I will definitely lose.
I'm changing my solo one then if we're doing it for points.
Well, it all depends. Actually, no, it has to be what you said on this show, because the problem is if what you say in the chat is, I know that everyone watch this will be livid, going, that's not what he said.
Yeah, no,
you can't change. No, you got to do it. If you're going to do championship leagues, you got to make some mad predictions every now and then.
I'll say a long time as well.
Be...
So we got to manifest this as well.
Oh, yeah.
The finale of this is going to be the WrestleMania preview.
Yes.
Which could be us all in Vegas.
Yes.
Doing it. And maybe there's a replica title involved. Maybe we get like some kind of thing, like a winner's thing. I don't know. I'm just saying, it could be something. I think it'd be interesting.
We should go for something left field, like a sword.
Yeah.
No one sees coming. The
this.
championship sword. I think there is a wrestling promotion that does give out championship swords. There's definitely a bodybuilding promotion. You don't win a trophy or a medal, they give you a sword. It's just like, why? That's the last thing a bodybuilder wants, though. Like depleted and going home, and like, I don't want to carry a massive sword right now, bro.
And we do this in Vegas.
I know, we should try to get that
The
one.
winner has to take it out.
Yeah, how are you going to get? Never happening. Never going to get through customs. You're going to have to like what's it called? DPS it to yourself.
We should get a
Whatever it would
ring,
be.
like a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, yeah. Just
with the PWP
that'd be nice.
on it, like a big.
Yeah.
And then,
I'll look into
it. And then you have to give it up. I see a belt. I don't mind giving up a belt, but a ring, it's like on your skin, man. Like you can wear it every single day. It could be like a WWE Hall of Fame ring. Do you remember when I had to do a video on this the other day? Do you remember when Hulk Hogan gave his WWE Hall of Fame ring to Abyss in TNA to give him magical powers?
Yes, that's what we have. The winner gets magical powers.
Positivity.
The positivity
Nice.
ring of power.
Sometimes people say to me, Simon, why do you think TNA didn't work in 2010? I'm like, I don't know. I couldn't possibly.
It might be the magic powers. It could have been. I don't know.
With Abyss. That would be like, that's the equivalent of, who is I don't know, Ricky Steamboat doesn't really work. I go, Ricky Steamboat coming back and giving Undertaker like his mask that he used to wear when he was the dragon. I mean, Undertaker, if you wear this, you can have magic. I already have magic. I'm the Undertaker. Abyss was kind of meant to have magic powers to begin with. Honestly, that's storyline makes me mad. I've had to go through because it's so bad. I've had to watch it so many times, and every time I'm like, I don't want to watch this anymore. It is stupid.
I love that.
Stupid wrestling. But yeah, it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be really good. I mean, probably the last SummerSlam on a single day as well.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that from 2025 it's going to be 2 nights, but that's fine. I don't care anymore. We talked about this as too. I'm much more of a one-night guy other than WrestleMania, and I take a Raw Rumble, but ultimately it doesn't affect my life, and I don't care. That's
We talked about this last week. The more wrestling, the better. I don't mind. I'll watch Damian Priest 24 on Friday.
I'm never going to be mad too much content.
I'll watch this new 3-hour countdown show they're doing. 3 hours with no matches.
I've got to point out the countdown show did. You know what happened with the countdown show, right? It is look. It's all we don't know. I want to make that clear. We don't know. It could be a coincidence. It's not a coincidence, but. Collision got moved 2 hours outside of its normal time slot so it wouldn't clash with SummerSlam. And then WWE went, 3-hour pre-show. And I want to say this, because we've all been through one wrestling war, right? We all remember the Monday Night Wars. There's a side of me that thinks it's so silly. There's a bigger side that me is I love wonderful pettiness. Yeah. And if you want to be that petty, I will accept it. I love Cody destroying the throne. There was another one that said, remember when we had that stupid segment on WWE with the electric chair?
Yes.
And Sami Zayn for no reason just said so stupid. I will take that always. Yeah, people get so mad at Cody smashing the throne. But you know what, actually? It's a complete tangent. Cody Rhodes is back in WWE. Cody Rhodes is Triple H's guy. If Triple H didn't care, I don't think anybody else has to care. Clearly, Triple H watched that and went, what do I care? Who cares? Exactly. It makes no difference to anything.
It just brings eyeballs.
More of it.
Yeah, and I think if you're adding the extra show at the extra hour just to compete with Collision, you show Roman Reigns turning up.
Yeah. No, I think they should be the opposite. So AEW, I'm sure they have people that are in WWE that know stuff.
Yeah.
That like they could leak something.
Yeah.
So they need to work
Eric
on
Eric Bischoff stuff.
work on every leak they can.
Yeah.
And on Collision they go right at the start of Collision. Oh, Roman Reigns has just turned up in Cleveland. They'll put butts in seats. They should try that.
I'd respect it. I'd respect it so much because it's so lame. It becomes cool. That's what happens. You go so far in one. It's like the SummerSlam thing, the pre-show. You go so far to just act like, we'll do a 3-hour pre-show. Why the hell not? Do it all the time. And I hope AEW counters, and I want I hope that on that Collision, Shane McMahon walks out and just literally has the SummerSlam running order and goes Bailey over Nia. Just read the whole thing. I'd be so happy.
Do you know what I think as well is like when there was matches on a pre-show, it felt like you kind of had to kind of go out your way to watch it. Whereas they actively put no matches on these. Yeah. So I think they're just going for that kind of, if you watch the NFL in America, there's morning NFL game day.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
6 hours.
Yeah.
There's no matches, obviously. And then they just disappear at the end of it and matches start.
The truth of the matter is, though, and honestly, I don't care. If you're going to watch Collision, you're going to watch Collision. If you're going to watch the pre-show, you're going to watch the pre-show. You just are. Yeah. It depends what has more worth to you. Like you say, are you around your house with all your mates? You want to get pumped for SummerSlam, so you just put on Booker T saying WWE buzzwords. It's fine. It's great. It's exciting. But it gets you excited, right? You love that stuff. Or are you more into AEW that's probably going to give you 2 hours of really good wrestling? Yeah. I think it's awesome. I think it's great that we have that choice. I say big thumbs up. And it's not going to make a difference in the grand scheme of things anyway. Right, on that note, I do have to draw a line under it because of my day that we don't need to talk about, but the guys know. The guy knows what's going on. But just promote all your social media stuff and then we can go from there.
Cool. We are TBA Wrestling on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. I think that's all of them. And then we were Gunners Are Us, the other podcast that we have. It's probably going to get changed into some kind of positive name because we can have a positive umbrella. We've got a wrestling area, we've got a football area, that kind of thing. We have a SeatGeek code. Can we say that on here, Simon? Or is that an apropos?
As long as you're happy to say it, yeah, please go.
TBA nuts. Wrestling on SeatGeek, $20 off on your first purchase. The other thing I was going to say is UPW still have limited tickets for this weekend.
I was about to talk about this.
Yeah, this time next week. And I know you've told us we shouldn't be there, but I mean, sneak peek for anyone going. But I mean, we've even brought kind of outfits. We've but if you don't want us there, then we won't come.
You can't make me break character on the Positive Wrestling podcast. No, but it's true. We should say that. We should definitely get it into the start of the show. I meant to do it today, but I was rushing around. That's right. So check out UPW, Ultimate Pro Wrestling. It usually finds it on Google. You can sign up for UPW Plus if you live in America. I don't want to give too much away, but yes, us three are intrinsically linked in that promotion. And we do have a match with Danhausen a week tomorrow. So the 8th of August, depending on when you're listening to this. And yeah, listen, if you're around in the area, come down. I think there's like 20 seats remaining, which is awesome. But make sure you sign up for UPW Plus as well. And you can see what's going to go down. Because if nothing else, it's going to be fun. And from a Simon Miller point of view, it's my first match back in 2 months. So it could be an utter disaster. Like I was meant to have 2 to 3 matches before this, but I've only just been cleared. So this is not what I wanted to happen. But hey, in terms of stories for this show, it could make it way more fun when either A, my shoulder just pops out of its socket, or I absolutely suck against Danhausen because I haven't wrestled in 2 months. Either way, this is good stuff that we can just turn this into a mental health podcast. Be like, oh my gosh, I ruined it. I ruined it. But look, if you are on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, share, drop a comment below, of course. And again, it's available on all podcast apps as well. At the moment, it's still called Simon Miller's Pro Wrestling Podcast, only because the logo hasn't changed. If I change the name, everyone will get confused. The logo is being made now, so soon you will search for something else. But yeah, just go and watch it. If you haven't watched it on YouTube, go watch it on YouTube, because I think you'll get a different experience. But if you are listening to it on any kind of app, 5 stars, leave a comment. That just gets it into the algorithm more. And listen, my hands up. It's my bad because it has been so long. We have to refresh that algorithm. So I would appreciate it. But for now, Scott, Joey, I appreciate you. Thank you much for your time. And listen, this is probably going to drop on Thursday. So Thursday may be the day. Because it was Thursday, it was Friday last week. We'll figure it out. But the point is this, we will always have some content for you every single week. I appreciate you being patient with me. And yeah, we'll have more information soon. Enjoy SummerSlam. That's the most important thing. Enjoy SummerSlam. It comes but once a year. And we'll talk to you again next week.